Hello and welcome to a new video. Today it is that time, that quarterly time of year where I bring you my anticipated releases for the months of October through to December. There's some really good books coming out in the last quarter of the year, so this might be a bit longer. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I will say in advance, I actually don't have any books for December. I've found that not many books come out in December. And I was looking at like books that I might be interested in, and literally none of them were for December. I don't think I even saw that many that I weren't interested in for December. So I feel like the books that are coming out in October and November will more than make up for the fact there's none for December. But I wanted to just keep December on here because, you know, it's still part of the quarter. There's just nothing I want to read coming out in that month. So, yeah. As always, with the sequels, I will either just mention the previous books or read the blurb for the first book in the series. But we'll see as I get to them. So, let's get stuck in for October. So the first book for October is coming out on the 4th, and it is The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I absolutely adore They Both Die at the End. It breaks me, like, emotionally, but it is incredible. And this is actually a prequel. This is, so if you've read They Both Die at the End, there's this there's a thing called Deathcast where they will phone you up on the day that you are going to die. You don't know exactly when in the day you're going to die. You don't know like how you're going to die, but if you get that phone call, you will die before midnight. And this prequel is basically following the first to die at the end. So it's following the first people that get that call from Deathcast, and I'm really excited. I'm scared because I honestly sobbed so much at They Both Die in the End, because this isn't a happy ending book. So yeah, I'm excited but scared. The next one also comes out on the 4th, and this is actually a Christmassy one. A lot of the Christmas books do tend to come out in October, November time, which makes sense because they want people to read them in the Christmas month, so it gives time for people to get them and everything. But this is You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince by Timothy Janofsky. So I'm going to read you the blurb for this one. I'm so excited. It sounds amazing. Bring a little joy to the world. Not today, Santa. Matthew Prince is young, rich and thoroughly spoiled. So what if his parents barely remember he exists and the press is totally obsessed with him? He's on top of the world. But one major PR misstep later and Matthew is cut off and shipped away to spend the holidays in his grandparents' charming small town hellscape. You can see where this is going, right? Population, who cares? It's bad enough he's stuck in some festive winter wonderland. It's even worse that he has to share space with Hector Martinez, an obnoxiously attractive local who's unimpressed with anything and everything Matthew does. Just when it looks like the holiday season is bringing nothing but heated squabbles, the charity gala loses its coordinator and Matthew steps in as a saintly act to get home early on good behaviour, with Hector as his maddening +1. But even a Grinch can't resist the unexpected joy of found family, and in the end the false proximity and infectious holiday cheer might be enough to make a lonely prince's heart grow 3 sizes this year. How amazing does that sound? Like, Christmas and gay and Grinch. The Grinch is one of my all-time favourite movies. So having a book that's basically based on the premise of the Grinch's heart growing 3 sizes. Yeah, I'm down for that. The next one is another one that comes out on the 4th, and that is When Life Gives You Vampires by Gloria Duke. I'm just going to go straight in with the blurb on this one. 25-year-old Lily Baines is used to waking up hungover, overweight and underemployed. Waking up with fangs? Not so much. But when it turns out a little light necking has more serious consequences than she ever imagined, Lily's determined to get to the bottom of it. Tristan hadn't meant to turn Lily. It's against vampire law. But now that she's here, they need to team up to save their hides. They strike a truce, fending off other vampires, Lily's work rival turned slayer, and her mother's tone-deaf romance and fitness advice, all while Lily faces down her insecurities about the fact that that she lives in a diet-obsessed world with a body that will never age, never die, and never change. Can she learn to love the plus-size woman she'll be forevermore? Now, it says at the beginning of this, a paranormal dumpling for adults. And it's part of a journey of body positivity and part of a story about learning how to accept love at face value. And it's a historical rom-com. Like, this sounds incredible and like right up my street. And I'm loving how many more books there are with plus size characters now. Like, over the years, there's just getting more and more, and I am here for it. And also, this is vampires, so of course I'm going to read it. So next up, on the 11th of October, we have Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner. So this is like a sapphic rom-com, so just wait. When Cassie Klein goes to an off-campus bar to escape her school's family weekend, she isn't looking for a hookup. It just happens. Buying a drink for a stranger turns into what should be an uncomplicated, amazing one-night stand. But then the next morning rolls around and her friend drags her along to meet her mum, the hot older woman Cassie slept with. Erin Bennett came to family weekend to get closer to her daughter, not have a one-night stand with a college senior. In her defence, she hadn't known Cassie was a student when they met. To make things worse, Erin's daughter brings Cassie to breakfast the next morning, and despite Erin's better judgment, how could sleeping with your daughter's best friend be anything but bad? She and Cassie get along in the day just as well as they did last night. What should have been a one-time fling quickly proves impossible to ignore, and soon Cassie and Erin are sneaking around. Worst of all, they start to realise they have something real, but is being honest about the love between them worth the cost? Like, this is amazing. I am so excited for this. I will say, you're gonna notice a theme in this anticipated releases. If you compare it to my anticipated releases for like October to December last year, where it was mainly fantasy, this one's, I think, mainly contemporary romance, because that is all I care about right now, apparently. But this sounds amazing, and I'm just like, yes. Next up, we have a few on the 13th of October. So first up, we have The Other Ones by Fran Hart. So Sal lives in a haunted house. He longs to be ordinary, but when the strangest of strangers arrives on his doorstep, a fellow outcast called Pax, his life grows even more complicated. Sal goes on to develop an unlikely friendship with Pax, whose love for all things spooky drew him to the house and its inhabitants. But as the two grow closer, the true nature of the hauntings is gradually revealed. Will Sal find the courage to conquer his ghosts, or will he risk losing Pax for good? A cozy contemporary romance and ghost story with spooky Gilmore Girls vibes. And it's an LGBTQ plus romance. It says for fans of Heartstopper with a spooky twist. Like, if that doesn't describe me, fan of Heartstopper, Halloween is like my favourite time of the year other than Christmas. Also, Waterstones have an absolutely stunning sprayed edge edition, which I have pre-ordered. I'm really excited for this, and I will be reading it in October when it comes out, because I need the spooky vibes. Next up, also on the 13th of October, we have Spaceband by Tom Fletcher. So, George, Neela and Bash are the worst band on earth. George wants them to be brilliant, but Neela has stage fright and Bash is too distracted by his obsession with stars, aliens and faraway planets. But what they lack in talent and confidence, they make up for in heart. They're determined to blow their friends away at their school Battle of the Bands contest, but the moment they start to play, they're beamed up into space. Now the kids face an even bigger challenge, Battle of the Bands, but the intergalactic version. They're competing against alien bands from every galaxy, and if they don't win, they might never make it home again. Can the worst band on earth become the best band in the universe? It's no secret that I absolutely adore everything Tom Fletcher has ever written, and I don't think this is going to be an exception. This sounds amazing, and I always love just how perfect Tom Fletcher writes children's books. They are just amazing. He is 100% an auto-buy author for me, and I will read everything he ever brings out, even if he's still bringing out stuff when I'm like in my like 60s. Next up on the 13th of October is actually a non-fiction book, and it's Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. Now, you know my feelings on Harry Potter. However, this is basically an autobiography of Tom Felton, who I absolutely adore. Like, I love him. Like, I've met him, just saying. And I specifically went to see 222 A Ghost Story because him and Mandip Gill were in it. So of course, if he's bringing out an autobiography, I'm going to read it. And I'm actually, as much as I will never read anything or watch anything or do anything to do with Harry Potter again, I'm really interested in like his life, because he's done other things as well. Like he was in Planet of the Apes, he was in The Flash. I loved his character in The Flash, and whilst I do think this is going to focus heavily on his time on the set of those movies, because you know that was a massive part of his life, I'm interested to just see his life. So I'm really excited for this, and I'm really hoping the audiobook is going to be narrated by him, because like I said in another video a few weeks back, I absolutely love when autobiographies are narrated by the person themselves, because yeah. Then the final 13th of October book is actually the Heartstopper Yearbook by Alice Oseman. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what this is. I just saw something different by Alice Oseman and pre-ordered it. I think it's going to have like a few like little snippets that we've never seen before and like facts and things. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm here for it and I've pre-ordered it. I've had it pre-ordered since like October last year, I think. So yeah. And then the final October book is coming out on the 18th of October, and it is A Cosmic Kind of Love by Samantha Young. So when event planner Hallie Goodman receives party inspiration material from the bride of her latest wedding project, the last thing she expects to find in the files are digital photos from Darcy's ex-boyfriend. Hallie knows it's wrong to keep watching these personal videos, but this guy is cute, funny, and an astronaut on the International Space Station to boot. She's only human, and it's not long until she starts sending emails and video diaries to his discontinued NASA address. Since they're bouncing back, there's no way anyone will ever be able to see them, right? Christopher Ortiz is readjusting to life on Earth and being constantly in the shadow of his deceased older brother. When a friend from NASA's IT department forwards him the emails and video messages Hallie has sent, he can't help but notice how much her sense of humour and pink hair make his heart race. Separated by screens, Hallie and Chris are falling in love with each other, one transmission at a time. But can they make their star-crossed romance work when they each learn the other's baggage? This sounds so cute and I'm so here for it. Yeah, I have no words. So yeah. Okay, so now we move on to November. So on the 1st of November, we have Kiss Her Once for Me by Helen Cochran. This is sapphic and Christmassy. So the first line says, the author of The Charm Offensive returns with a festive romantic comedy about a woman who fakes an engagement with her landlord only to fall for his sister. I'm gonna be honest, I don't need to read any more of that blurb to you. I haven't even read the rest of the blurb. I just saw that line and instantly was like, yes. And I believe Chloe Persistent Bookworm also has this on her anticipated releases for the end of the year, because I think it was her video that like drew me to this book, and then I like heard her saying about that line and I was like, yes. Yes. So yeah, this one. Next up on the 8th of November, we have one that I've been waiting for a while, and that's the Luminaries by Susan Dennard. Now, I absolutely adore the Witchland series. I know that is apparently an unpopular opinion nowadays, but I absolutely adore that series and have adored it more and more as the books have gone on. And this is something new. Like, I'm not actually sure, but I think this was like, she's been writing this one for a while, and I think some people might have already got bits and pieces of it, because I've seen a lot on social media about it, but I'm really excited, so I'm going to read you the blurb. Hemlock Falls isn't like other towns. You won't find it on a map, your phone won't work here, and the forest outside town might just kill you. Winnie Wednesday wants nothing more than to join the Luminaries, the ancient order that protects Winnie's town and the rest of humanity from the monsters and nightmares that rise in the forest of Hemlock Falls every night. Ever since her father was exposed as a witch and a traitor, Winnie and her family have been shunned, but on her 16th birthday she can take the deadly Luminary Hunter trials and prove herself true and loyal. and restore her family's good name, or die trying. But in order to survive, Winnie enlists the help of the one person who can help her train, Jay Friday, resident bad boy and Winnie's ex-best friend. While Jay might be the most promising new hunter in Hemlock Falls, he also seems to know more about the nightmares of the forest than he should. Together, he and Winnie will discover a danger lurking in the forest no one in Hemlock Falls is prepared for. Not all monsters can be slain, and not all nightmares are confined to the dark. That sounds amazing. I think this is going to be a YA fantasy, but either way, I'm really excited. Like I said before, I am sort of drifting away from YA fantasy unless like there are a few exceptions, and one of which is auto by authors for me, and Susan Dennard is definitely one of those. So yeah. Also on the 8th of November, we have Better Than Fiction by Alexa Martin. So we're going back to contemporary romance now. As a self-proclaimed book hater and a firm believer that the movie is always better, Drew Young didn't anticipate inheriting her grandma's bookstore, the Book Nook. She's in way over her head even before the shop's resident book club, compromising 7 of the naughtiest old ladies ever, begin to do what they do best, meddle. Best-selling author Jasper Williams is a hopeless romantic. When he meets Drew at his Book Nook sign-in event, he becomes determined to show her the beauty of reading. He curates a book bucket list in exchange for her help exploring the local Denver scene for his current manuscript. From river rafting to local restaurants, Drew begins to connect with Jasper in a way she only thought happened in fiction. When messy family ties jeopardize the future of the Book Nook, Drew is caught between a bookshelf and a hard place. She's reminded that real life isn't always big dreams and sweeping romance, but Jasper is the plot twist she never saw coming, and he's writing a happily ever after just for them. I'm going to love this. And I'm really, really excited. It sounds so good. Also on the 8th of November, we have Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion. This has been pushed back a few times, I think. So this is the sequel to Legendborn, which I absolutely adored. I'm not going to read the blurb for Legendborn, but it is an Arthurian retelling. An Arthurian retelling, but set in modern day. And it's amazing. I am incredibly excited, and Fairy Loot have just announced that they're doing this set as a like special edition set, and I'm like, yes! I am obsessed. Like, this is amazing. And the audiobook for the first book is amazing. So I keep saying amazing, I need to stop saying amazing, but it is amazing. And then the last one on the 8th of November is Charm by Tracy Wolfe. This is the 5th book in the Crave series. I'm not going to read you the blurb for Crave because honestly, the plot has developed so much since the first book that it's basically about a girl whose parents die, and she ends up at the school her uncle is a headmaster at. And she finds out that like vampires, dragons and all that lot are real. A lot more happens than that, but it is amazing. It's funny, but the plot is actually quite serious in parts, and it really has an amazing balance of the two, and you will fall in love with the characters. There is the found family aspect, and honestly, just read this series. Then on the 10th of November, we have Gleams by Neil Shusterman. It has been a year since I read the Scythe series. And I finished that series and was really sad it was over, because whilst it wraps up really well, I wanted more. And Neil Shusterman is delivering. So this is basically a collection of short stories following different scythes, and we might even see some familiar faces in there, I think has been said, but I believe all of them are going to be set before the trilogy takes place. So I'm really excited to just get more from that world, because yes. And then also on the 10th of November, we have Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sulin Tan. This is the sequel to Dora the Moon Goddess, which I wasn't expecting to love as much as I did. But I did, because it is YA fantasy by an author I've never read before. And this did not disappoint. I am very excited for this. I believe this is just a duology. and I cannot wait to see where it goes. The first book follows Shailing, who is forced to leave her imprisoned mum and go on a journey, and she meets a prince, she meets a like general, and she discovers some amazing things about herself. And honestly, this book is everything, and oh my god, just read it. Just read it. And I'm so excited for the sequel because of the way the first book ended. You will want the sequel straight away. Next, on the 15th of November, we have A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book in the Flesh and Fire series, which is, of course, the prequel series to the Blood and Ash series. I am so excited to have this book. I do still need to read the fourth book in the Blood and Ash series, which I will be doing before this comes out, because I want to read this like as soon as it comes, because I am obsessed, and I loved A Shadow in the Ember a lot more than I was expecting, because I did hear some very mixed reviews. But if you are putting this series off because of those reviews, don't listen to them. Make the decision for yourself, because I'm so glad I didn't listen and I made the decision for myself. Then on the 22nd of November, we have Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese. This is another romance. Opposites become allies to fool their matchmaking friends in this swoony reimagining of Shakespeare's beloved comedy, Much Ado About Nothing. Jamie Westenberg and Bea Wilmot have nothing in common except a meat disaster and the mutual understanding that they couldn't be more wrong for each other. But when the people closest to them play Cupid and trick them into going on a date, Jamie and Bea realise they have something else in common after all, an undeniable need for revenge. Soon their plan is in place. Fake date obnoxiously and convince the meddlers they're madly in love, then break up spectacularly and dash their hopes, putting an end to their matchmaking madness once and for all. To convince everyone that they're fallen for each other, Jamie and Bea will have to nail the performance of their lives. But as their final act nears and playing lovers becomes easier than not, they begin to wonder, what if Cupid's arrow wasn't so off the mark, and what if two wrongs do make a right? I literally saw Fake Dating and was instantly sold that I am going to need this book in my life instantly. We all know I love a fake dating trope. They're just the best. I'm so excited for this one. And then the final book on this list is the 29th of November, and it is Never Ever Getting Back Together by Sophie Gonzalez. I love Sophie Gonzalez books. Haven't read all of them yet, but the ones I have, I bloody love. So I'm going to read you the blurb. When their now famous ex-boyfriend asked them to participate in a teen reality show, two 18-year-old girls, one bent on revenge, the other open to rekindling romance, get tangled up in an unexpected twist when they fall for each other instead. It's been 2 years since Maya's ex-boyfriend cheated on her, and she still can't escape him. His sister married the crown prince of a minor European country, and he captured hearts as her charming younger brother. If the world only knew the real Geordie, the manipulative liar who broke Maya's heart. Skye Kaplan was always cautious with her heart until Geordie said all the right things and earned her trust. Now his face is all over the media and Skye is still wondering why he stopped calling. When Maya and Skye are invited to star on the reality dating show Second Chance Romance, they're whisked away to a beautiful mansion along with 4 more of Geordie's exes to compete for his affections while the whole world watches. Skye wonders if she and Geordie can recapture the spark she knows they had, but Maya has other plans, exposing Geordie and getting revenge. As they navigate the competition, Skye and Maya discovered that their real happily ever after is nothing they could have scripted. This sounds amazing, and it's sapphic. That is all I need to know, it's sapphic. I'm really excited for this. This sounds absolutely incredible, and I will be pre-ordering it. Okay, so that is all of my anticipated releases. I say this every single time, I definitely feel like I've missed some. But if you have got any anticipated releases for October, December that you are looking forward to and you think I might like as well, drop them in the comments below, because always wanting to add to my list. I am always wanting that. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.